Yes, we are live. Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. You can watch it here on the webinar platform, and also we are live on our YouTube channel. So welcome. My name is Olena Gryniuk. I am the CE Director at the SME Banking Club, and from this year also founder and director at the Voa Digital, which is a platform where we promote and develop the digitalization of receivable finance and build the active community of experts eager to drive change in receivable finance. So this is our next webinar within this project, and we speak about digital factoring. Today, we will speak about digital invoice finance marketplace. My guest today is Ivan Babic, director at SEFLink, a digital invoice finance marketplace from Serbia. Hello, Ivan, and welcome.
Hello.
And yes, just a short organizational information from my side. So our webinar is planned for 30-40 minutes. We will start from the presentation, and after we will have a Q&A session. So we will be able to answer your questions. So please type them in the chat even during the presentation, and we will be able to read all of them and answer them. So you're welcome to do so. And yes, we are recording this webinar, so right after we finish, you will receive the link to the video. So let's go to the topic. If we talk and if we say about the invoice finance marketplaces, from the customer perspective, it seems to be the most convenient way, especially for SMEs, to finance their invoices here, because they should upload the invoice in one place, not on every digital factoring company platform, just one place, and then receive the offer from all the players on their market and actually choose the one that the customer likes the most. So there is, let's say, at the moment, not many such marketplaces globally. Here in the CE region, we count 3 of them, and SEFLink is one of them, and actually the only one in the mobile application. So Ivan, let's start from the presentation. Tell us more about SEFLink, and then let's have a discussion.
Okay. First of all, thanks everyone for joining this webinar, and thanks Olena for organizing it. I think I will be quite, I won't take too much of your time just to present our app, and hopefully there will be good questions afterwards so that we can bring it closer to all of you. First of all, we should start as a SEFLink and introduce it as such. SEFLink is a mobile-only and mobile-first application as such. That is, it is actually a platform where small business owners can have access to their invoices, and it's made for small and micro business owners. The users that are using this app are usually the business owners that they don't have, or the business software, because they don't have it or lack time and knowledge to use it as such. And all the information about their business and financial position they're actually getting from their accountants, for example, or some third-party people from their company that is using the business software, if they have it at all. Most of the SME owners are not from a financial background, and they are not even aware of all the financial services or tools they have at their disposal. Factoring is one of them, for example. And our approach is to provide them with all the relevant financial information instantly on their mobile phones, so that our clients have an easy and prompt access to their financial position, cash flow forecast, and better debt collection, and in the end, access to finance if need be. At the moment, our app is active in Serbia only, but because the app itself relies on the kind of a central e-invoicing system, which is active at the moment in Serbia, we're getting ready to get to be in Romania soon enough, hopefully, and in Poland, because those are the countries that will have it. Actually, Romania has it since this year, and Poland should have it in 2025. So we hope we'll be ready for those two markets, but by that time. What are key benefits? Because all of them kind of they all need the same information. I mean, the small business owner. And the main challenge for them is, apart from positioning themselves on the financial, on the market, and the sales, is how to be financially stable, and that can be attained by prompt collection, usually, of the receivables from their customers, and good cash flow management. But most business owners find it difficult to manage their finances manually, because that's usually what they do. They manage it manually on a spreadsheet, or even write it in some kind of notebooks or things like that. Quite a few of them actually have an accountant that does it for them, but they rely on phone calls to them and have that information when they answer the phone. That is where SEFLink jumps in to help them with the cash flow management and faster collection of the receivables with the functionalities that we have at the disposal for them. And another major problem for SME owners is access to finance. That is especially the case if the company is young. No bank is going to grant them a credit, even if SME is eligible for one, for a credit itself. That usually does take time. So that's why we actually incorporated factoring within the app, so they can have access to the finance through financing their invoices. That is one of the key reasons people are actually starting to use the app. Apart from the invoices, they had other ways of kind of managing invoices, but with the cash flow forecast they didn't have. And the factory marketplace are actually two things that they are really needed by those small business owners in order to survive in a way of being liquid in these times. Main functionalities of the app. First of all, it all starts with an invoice. Everybody issues an invoice or receives an invoice for the services that is being done to them, or goods being bought. From those invoices that we collect from this is the reason why we actually need to have a government e-invoicing platform for us to connect to, in order to have all the financial data in one place. Otherwise, it wouldn't be accurate as such. We provide, in a way, paint them a picture of their cash flow forecast. So they really know where they stand. They know how much money they should receive within. We divided it in two groups, in 14 days and 30 days in future. So they can have a look at it. And why it's 14 or 30 days? It's just because our opinion was that was enough time to give somebody 14 or 30 days to either collect the receivables or to manage his financing the invoices, either through some microloans from the banks or whatever he has, or at the moment the only solution is through factoring within the app, factory marketplace. Apart from the information from the invoices, what we have actually done is we have the information that are not usually invoiced, and we have taken them into account as well. And those things are something like rent or credit, or even wages for the workers and everybody else, so they can have a clear picture what needs to be paid, and when are they due those things to pay. When we kind of give them that picture for them. The owner might have a clear idea of what he needs to do in order to stay liquid. As I mentioned before, does he need to kind of focus on managing his receivables? Because as you all know, there are customers that are usually late, and you have that idea that some of them paid with a few days overdue, or some of them paid even earlier than the due date. But everybody knows their own customers more or less, but at least they have it all in one view. And there is also automatic kind of a system for reminding companies that are due to pay their invoices, and even the things for overdue invoices. We're sending them. It's not reminders, but kind of. I don't know. I can't remember the word at the moment. Sorry for that. But call it reminders as well that the invoice is overdue. And it's working really well. We tested it with our clients, and our own collection of receivables actually improved some 15 to 20%, which is good for us because we more or less don't have overdue invoices at all. They might be overdue for 5 to 10 days, no more than that, which is great for us. And one of the things they can all, as well as that, they can dive into those invoices and have a clear view of what is there. If they need finances, they can send those invoices to factoring marketplace. And the factoring market, we actually, at the moment over here, we are integrated with 4 of them. And every factoring company receives the information about the invoice, and they send their offer in a way of what percentage and what fee do they charge for financing those invoices, and the client can choose the best one for them, which is not usually the percentage, but or even the fee. Different things vary in there. So, but they have their own. It's up to them to decide which one they're gonna use. As I said before, invoices are a must in order to have these, but without those information about recurring costs that do actually amount to a lot if you include wages in that and things like that in the cash flow forecast. Cash flow forecast part of the app is actually the most used one at the moment, and then a factoring one. And I'm just going to skip a bit forward for the banks, because this is what is happening to us at the very moment. Since the app is in very early stages, we actually came to market only in April this year. We were, and it is very early for us to kind of wait a few things, but even though it's a very short period that we're on the market, we have quite a few customers, and our main goal was to attract. What was our actually idea was to attract enough users to use our apps, so that we can approach the banks and offer them our app as an add-on to their mBank solution. And our reasoning for that was that we're not one of the big vendors that have history of working with banks, and that we have to prove ourselves in order to even earn a chance to sit at the same table with them and discuss the idea of cooperation as such. But what came to us as a surprise is that we were actually approached by the banks way earlier than we thought, which was this summer, only a few months after we launched the app. When we're asking, they heard about us on the social media and on the business conferences that we were participating at, and they actually asked us if we can provide them with that very service. I mean, in a way to cooperate together and embed our app within their mBank solution. So we are talking with a couple of banks on that things. And the reason for that is it's my opinion is time to market, because if they were the ones to develop all this, it would take a long time to develop it, and with us it would only take a few months to have it all in one place, even less depending on the technical solutions that they use. And as well as that, as we are a small, relatively small company, and we are more agile and ready to have new features add-on, which I will speak about later on, within that mBank solution that the banks might choose for their users to have, which would take way longer for them to develop it themselves. And to be honest, the mBank applications are the best place to have SEFLink functionalities at, because it gives great user experience to the bank's client and our, in the kind of a not direct way, indirect way, because he wouldn't have to go out of the mBank application, and still he will have all the necessary financial information that he might need to have, and he would have the options to have a cash flow or factoring forecast, or even other things that banks might develop in due time in order to have the experience, or even to offer their clients some new things that they can use. But before the banks, we have actually had the talks with factoring companies to integrate with them, because that is where we have started, because without them, I think the app itself wouldn't be good in a way. It wouldn't be whole. It would lack something, and with the factoring companies, we have the thing that we needed, and that is actually the factoring marketplace. But I have to admit, the factoring companies immediately have seen us as an ally for more reasons than one, because quite a few of them had difficulties with their, not difficulties, but situations with their clients where the client will have to type in all the necessary invoice information into their own. They all have their own web portals for the invoice financing, but with our app, it's just one click, because as we have all necessary financial information from the invoices, the client, all he needs to click is the button finance it, and the factoring companies would get all the necessary information. And it really does save time, and we have good feedback from those factoring companies in regards to that. Also, as a part of our customer kind of onboarding process at the moment, we have actually financial and business tutorials so that our users of the app can use that knowledge in everyday life and make better business decisions. And why is that? Is because, as I said earlier, most of them are not from the financial background, and they're not, quite a few of them is not even aware of the existence of some things like factoring as such. And I even heard in one of the Olena's conference that I attended that most factoring is used by enterprises, like large companies. And the reason, my opinion, that is that the people that are in charge of finances over there, of course, are financial people, and they very well know what to do with it. But the small owners, the small companies, they're not aware of the possibilities that they can use and they can have using different tools, not only factoring, but different financial tools. So we're trying to tell them what to do in order to improve their kind of financial well-being, or we can call it liquidity at least, but it's not only liquidity as such. Even, as I said, those tutorials that we're sending, it even, as we have quite a few of them from e-commerce actually, and the young companies, they didn't even, when they found out about factoring, they started using it, not in a massive scale, but they did start using it because it was just untenable for them to every day put their own money into it. So those actually throughout the kind of tutorial thing, we actually got involved new companies within factoring that have never used it before. They didn't even know that it was existing. So in a way, we're spreading the word for factoring companies, even though we are not one, but we think it's one of the best ways for the small companies to manage their finances as such. And I'm just gonna go through it. The benefits for them are obvious at the moment because they're definitely broadening their market in a way. They're getting more customers because not every kind of a consumer of factoring is using every single one of the factoring companies, but through our app, I'm not saying it is happening all the time, but there's great possibility that because it doesn't cost them anything, they can have an offer for every single one that is integrated with us. So in a way, we're opening the new markets for them. As I said before, we are making the process of sending invoice to be financed way easier. It's literally just one click. And because we had talks with some other ones, even there is a possibility of opening new markets if when I say new market, new verticals and things like that, if when they're integrated with us, they're actually trying to open new verticals that they haven't been present at before, because we are doing extensive kind of marketing, and our sales team is doing that, which is, I have to be honest, a hard thing because there's so many small business owners and there is only so little of us, as I can say, and that's the reason why our opinion that with mBank, the solutions embedded our functionality is actually the best way to reach the broader audience. And imagine if we are embedded within the mBank solutions, how many small business owners could have factoring as one of the tools for them to use in order to be financed. It might be, if it happens, a game changer for most of them. And I'm not gonna bother too much about technical integration because there is so many different ways to integrate, and we always leave it to technical people. At the end of the day, it's always the thing of what business wants. And when I said business, I mean within the companies, and banks or factoring companies, they decide what do they want, and then they can choose what kind of integration they want to do. And when I say what kind of integrations, because as we were having quite a few of those talks with the banks, their ideas vary. Well, for those three functionalities, some of them want all three, some of them want only factoring marketplace because they kind of done a part of the e-invoicing. The others want just e-invoicing and cash flow forecast without factoring because it's not in there. They don't want to do it. And as well as that, like for example, when we ask them, do they want to allow information from the accounts that the clients might have in other banks, because some of them do, of course. The answers vary widely, like from, of course, we want to allow them to have all the information needed, to those ones that, no, we just want them to have our information from our own bank. So those are the things as well. But what was to us interesting as well is that apart from the banks, actually telco operators contacted us in order to discuss a possibility of us offering our app to their clients, which was great for us as well, because we were recognized as something that might be possible to offer to wider audience, as I said, because over here the biggest challenge is sales, because there is so many small companies. They amount to about 80% of all the companies, any market at least, small and micro companies, and you have to reach to every single one of them, offer them, which it's I don't think it's attainable thing, but through telco companies, or even best through the banks, I think that's the best and quickest way and most natural thing to do, to offer them financial product through, of course, bank, as it's a financial institution as such. But what I wanted to say as well about the banks, some of them actually were really proactive, and we're discussing a few things. But for example, with one of them, they want to use our app as a lead generator for them, in a way that if we go through some certain patterns within the user's company, we can actually send them information if that company comes to a certain financial position, whichever that might be at the moment, so they can be offered microloans or other banks or services that might be useful to them. And that was just one of them, but the kind of the play field is way wider than it is with the factoring at the very moment, because factoring is only one of those things that might be used. There's a next slide is actually case study, but as I said, we can't have many case studies because we don't, apart from just ordinary companies, small companies using the app, because at the moment we don't have any integrations with the bank at the moment, because, as you know, the summer just ended, and those talks do take some time. So hopefully within the next few weeks or a month, we might start with one of them, our first integration, and then we might be having a good ideas of what that will take in order to happen. But what actually I'm definite about it is what needs to be done is, although SEFLink as an app can give you financial insights for SME owners, clients, whoever, and provide them with the tools and some knowledge to overcome some, as it's written, over a difficult situation. What is actually needed is for that ecosystem, and I mentioned that to Olena earlier. We need that ecosystem between micro and small companies and financial institutions, which include banks and factoring companies and companies alike, to have that ecosystem alive and help each other with whatever their strength is. This is just one example that I've put over here on the slide, which is that, for example, the bank might have a new company which is very young. They can't provide them with the credit because they don't have any scores or whatever. There is a factoring company that might be able to help that small company to weather their financial problems and help them grow in their future. And then when they grow to a certain stage, then the bank can, if I can say, take over and with the credit lines or whatever, and help them grow even further. But that ecosystem, as I said, needs to be alive and nourished in order to be there for years in order for it to be alive for all of us. Thanks. That was all I had to say. And please, if there are any questions, just.
Yeah, it takes some time to turn on again. Yes, thank you very much, Ivan. We do invite you to ask questions. Type them in the chat, because we do have some time to have a discussion right now. Okay, let's maybe do this way so that everyone could see us maybe better. Ivan, my first questions will be to you from my side. Well, first of all, probably I would like to start and maybe also to focus or pay attention that you mentioned at the very beginning that you started in Serbia and targeting the next markets, which you mentioned, Romania and Poland. So the economies which are implementing or plan to implement the mandatory e-invoicing system. I would focus maybe to that, and this maybe not everybody is acknowledged with that. So it means that the mandatory invoicing regulations are in place. All the business customers are obliged here to issue invoices in the electronic way, and the invoices are sent to the tax office in structured, let's say, format. And it means that also there is access to this invoice data for third parties, let's call it like this. So the factoring companies, for example, or banks can retrieve this data in an electronic way, and having this data can offer some invoice finance based actually on this data, right? So let's maybe start with that. So my first question then will be first to you, why is that? I understand that this is the very comfortable situation when you have this data. But if the customer, maybe let's divide the two customer journeys, if we can. So first, the customer can use the e-invoicing solution in your application, right? And then, of course, when it's issued, they can finance this invoice right in the application. And what is because you mentioned that this could be then a great opportunity to integrate to the mobile banking of banks in these countries, right? It means that because banks now, which is very good, I think, and this is becoming one of the differentiators on the market, they are integrating the e-invoicing solutions in their online or mobile applications for SMEs. Does it mean that the customer can start from the other invoicing solution and get the invoice finance offer in Europe? How in this
of course, that's one of the things I mentioned. I just start from the beginning because it's obvious why we need the information and why we're doing this in Serbia at the moment, because it's obligatory since 1st of January 2023. So it's almost 2 years now. It's past tense for everybody. You have to have it. There is no avoiding it. And the new markets, as I said, for us, hopefully Romania, which started in March this year, and Poland, which start at sometime during 2025. At the moment, we don't know exactly when, but we're going to try to be ready for it. And the obvious reason is because in order to have all that data within. Answer to your question about if the banks have their own e-invoicing kind of applications within the mBank, it's not, as I said, it's not a problem because some of, actually one of, I won't be saying which one most people do know, which one it is. They have connection to the SEF, which is called e-invoicing, but they don't have the other two things, cash flow forecasts and factory marketplace. And with us, because they are different modules, they can integrate whichever one they want. It doesn't have to be as a whole system as such. So if they have e-invoicing, they can have cash flow with us and factory marketplace, or only factory marketplace with us as such.
Okay, so you are targeting the integrations with the bank, with their mobile banking applications, whether they have invoicing module or not, or plan to have it, let's say. And the factoring companies, which you mentioned, you have 4 of them at the moment, right? And all of them offer digital factoring process like separately on their websites, or
they have to be digital completely in order to be able to integrate with us. If they're manual, we can't do much about it because then it's the same thing. Are they gonna type in the information themselves, or we can send them whatever information, they still have to type it in. And there's no point of integration of a kind. But to my knowledge, even those ones, because we have, I think, 17 factoring companies over here, they're more or less, including banks, but we're going to discount the banks at the moment because they're working only with corporate clients. and that's different. But from my knowledge, is that more or less all of them are looking at working on their platforms in order to be digital, because that's just the way things are going to go in future. There's no way back.
Yeah, one more thing. Can you share with us like your first results? Yes, you mentioned that you launched in April. We know that, but can you share your results right now? Like how many customers you have? And also, what is your target? Because you mentioned that you aim to be a source of leads, right? For factoring, for finance, for factoring companies. What is the targeted like percentage, or what are your plans that you really can?
If I had that slide ready, I didn't have it, but I might tell you. We have over almost 300 companies at the moment using the app.
Okay,
and our idea was to get to 500 in order to be kind of able to try to talk to the banks to say, listen, we have these 500 with our small resources, and with you we might have even more possibilities. But then what happened actually is they started talking to us way earlier. We didn't even have these 300. All these talks started in June, which I don't think that we had even 100 at that time, very moment. But daily I can tell you that we have 2 or 3 new customers average on day now. Hopefully it will grow. Quite a few of them are not even aware, because what I can tell you is the ones that are using it most are actually the transport companies and IT companies. Transport companies for obvious reasons, because they are mobile themselves. I mean, they're on the road. And IT companies, because they understand what it's actually needed for quite a few of them is education of what they can do on mobile phones. Then again, there are older people that this is what we were told, they would prefer a web application, but we are looking at the mobile first, because if need be, we will develop a web app as such, but that's not our port of call at the moment.
All right, we have 2 questions, or 2 sets of questions, I would call it. First, let me read from your keys. Thank you very much for this. I will divide this into separate questions. Well, first, any plans to expand in Germany? I think this is connected to the invoicing implementation in Germany, which is, if I'm not mistaken, this is 2027.
Hopefully we'll be ready for that by then.
So 2027, please be ready for Ivan's application. All right, and the next question, is there any integration with one of the factoring software? I guess we answered already, right? So
well, actually, I have to be precise on that. For factoring softwares as such, every one of them is instant factoring, and they have their own software. So it's not something that's publicly available for anybody but themselves. And every single one of these factoring companies has more or less the same solutions. Well, you might all know FinSpot as well. They have their own solutions, and they're all great solutions, but then they're not offered at the market for other ones to use it. So every integration was different to the other one in a way, because it's not streamlined. It's not one integration that we can have more factoring companies, which would be great for us if there was one integration. But we're thinking even about that. I can't name names at the moment, but hopefully with one of the German, we mentioned that we might be able to integrate with them. We haven't talked to them yet, because Germany is kind of too far for us in a way because of e-invoices. But I'm not. I'm all pro that, just in due time.
What kind of portfolio of companies do you have currently in the app?
As I said, mostly, I think about 40% are transport companies, about 30% are IT companies. And what's actually happening now, because of I don't know if what's going to be the case in Romania and in Poland, but in Serbia, when you receive an invoice, you have to confirm it that you accept it, or to deny that maybe it was wrongly invoiced to you or something like that. And what we actually is happening, not that much, but still happening, is accountants having their clients use our app in order to save themselves time, because they can, I can say, book only the invoices that are accepted. They can't book them officially if they're not accepted, because it might be wrongly invoiced to the wrong company or something like that. So you can reject and accept an invoice over here on our app as well. So they are advising their clients to use our app in order to save themselves time.
And the other question is there an initial risk assessment for the company while they are asking for a bid?
Sorry, asking
Is
for
there asking for a bid, for a price or for the offer?
That's being done by
Companies.
factoring companies themselves. They all have their own scoring systems. All we do is tell them who the buyer, who the receiver of the invoice is, who is actually the company that issued the invoice, the amount, and all the information that we have, and they help every single one of them, have their own scoring system that we don't mess with at all. So we just provide the information, no more than that. They might decline, after all, to give an offer, because they all have their own portfolios, as you understand, and risk assessment and things like that. So that's not up to us. Our job is to provide them with information about the company wanting to be financed, and they themselves send the offer if they're willing to, of course. They haven't. We haven't seen any rejected ones yet.
This is good. This is good.
Sorry, just one thing. I have to mention this as well, because if this is not kind of marketed as such, but the one interesting thing, if the invoice is sent to the factoring companies to be financed through our app, if they accept one offer, then we actually inform the others that it's been accepted for some company. So in a way, it might help for double financing. Because it can't be sent to two places. The same invoice can be sent to two places. Acceptance of it, because they can have 4 offers, but they can choose just one.
Just one. Yeah, right. The question is, do you offer Islamic factoring, or have a client asked you about this case before?
To be honest, no. But I was speaking to a factoring software company about it, and I wasn't aware that there is something different, but we're thinking about it at the moment. But as I said, we're just in our infancy as a company. We're just a couple of months old, and hopefully within next year that will be within our scope. So hopefully we'll be able to offer that as well. But it all depends. It's not if we can kind of provide that space for Islamic factoring. It's actually factoring companies. Do they want to integrate with us, or Islamic banks? Do they want to use our app for such a thing? If there was willingness, of course, we would even put that on fast forward if there was some initiative like that.
All right, and the last question from Oleg: if you don't assess the risk, how do you assure the quality of leads? You should have high decline rates, especially if the risk assessed for the buyer, not for the seller.
As I said, the factoring companies are the ones that are giving the money away. And first of all, they wouldn't accept our assessment, how it will, they would weigh preferred their own assessment than ours. We might not have some information that they might have, but as I said, it's always up to they're the ones that are giving money in, if you ask, if you understand, away. They're financing the invoice. It's not us. We're just a technical company that is intermediate within that space in order to make it better experience for the user of the invoice financing, in order not to have all that typing in then assessment. So at the moment we're not even thinking about it, but if that would be the stumbling block for us, not to have integration with them, then we would think about it. But from what we know now, they don't want us to have all any assessment. They need raw data about every single one of them, and then they have their own portfolios, and they decide their own risk, decides what they're going to do with that invoice as such.
Yeah, and having taken into account that raw data is within the invoicing regulations, it kind of minimizes minimize the frauds, I would say, right? All right, last question from Steven. Am I correct that you are a software company providing the application, correct, to the invoice finance working capital providers? Can you also, more or less, yeah. Can you also enhance your application by having the ability to integrate credit insurance technology within your application?
Yeah, that was one of the things that we were discussing, but when we started to talk with the insurance companies, we were out of their scope, as with like small companies out of scope for the banks to be financed. We just didn't get to that place to talk to them, but yeah, definitely yes.
In the future, yeah. All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you all for attending, and thanks for the good questions as well for me to clear that all.
Paris, thank you very much, and see you next month. We will have 2 webinars on the digital factoring topic. So thank you very much, and see you in October.
And good luck to all of you.
Goodbye.
Bye.